For years, China has shaken up the global auto industry with one simple yet game-changing move: producing electric cars at prices that make even seasoned automakers nervous. Time and time again, they've nailed the balance between affordability and solid performance, challenging the norms of what an EV can be. Now, they've taken it a step further with their boldest creation yet: an unassuming little electric car that's redefining expectations and causing a stir in boardrooms worldwide. Enjoying the content? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Introducing the BYD Seagull. At first glance, it's not flashy or futuristic, and it doesn't try to grab attention with over-the-top designs. Instead, it's subtle, almost too subtle. And that's where its genius lies. In a market saturated with sleek EV concepts and sky-high price tags, the Seagull quietly enters the scene with an eye-popping price of just $11,000. But here's the twist: it still delivers a solid 200-mile range, a feat many thought unattainable at this cost. On paper, this car feels like an urban legend, the kind of story car enthusiasts swap with a hint of skepticism. But it's very real, rolling off production lines and onto the bustling streets of China. For big-name automakers, it's a wake-up call, a product so disruptive that it forces the industry to react or risk becoming irrelevant. But how did BYD crack this code? How did they achieve what others only dreamed of? Stick around, and you'll see why the BYD Seagull might be the most groundbreaking budget EV yet, and how it could reshape the future of driving. The BYD Seagull isn't a sprawling SUV or a roomy family van. It's compact, a nimble four-door hatchback built to tackle busy city streets and squeeze into the tiniest parking spots with ease. Its design doesn't shout for attention. Instead, it whispers practicality. Smooth, simple lines, big windows for excellent visibility, and an interior that skips the unnecessary gimmicks for a clean, functional setup. But don't mistake its modest appearance for a lack of ambition. BYD has a clear target: the everyday driver looking for an affordable, reliable commuter car, especially in places where long-range driving is rarely a priority. In this niche, the Seagull hits the bullseye. Forget luxury features like autopilot or record-breaking acceleration. This car is all about getting you where you need to go, efficiently, quietly, and without breaking the bank. And that, in itself, might just be its most impressive achievement. The real bombshell is that price tag of around $11,000. That's the part making automakers around the world double-check their spreadsheets. Because if a fully electric four-door hatchback can be sold for that little, who's going to spend $30,000, $40,000, or even $50,000 when they could get something that simply works? Sure, the Seagull won't be everyone's dream car. It might feel tight on a long road trip, and you won't see TikTokers racing supercars in it. But for a massive chunk of the population that just needs a reliable daily driver, BYD has brought the mountain to Muhammad. All right, so how exactly do you build an electric car with a decent range and sell it for a sum that seems closer to a budget phone plan than a brand new automobile? BYD's answers can be found in a few key areas: the production line, the materials, the batteries, and the manufacturing techniques that slice costs to the bone without sacrificing total reliability. When you step onto a typical car factory floor, you'll see hundreds of parts streaming in from dozens of suppliers, each one adding its markup. The final vehicle is a patchwork of different companies' components. However, BYD has long embraced a different philosophy: vertical integration. Rather than buying batteries from one giant, motors from another, and electronics from a third, BYD makes them in-house. That alone slashes costs and gives them control over every dimension: engineering, quality checks, and assembly speed. They've also optimized their factories to churn out vehicles faster, with fewer bottlenecks and seamless lines that minimize manual touches. In other words, they're not paying outside suppliers to handle these tasks. They handle them themselves. But the Blade battery alone goes a long way toward dispelling fire hazards, a consistent worry among EV skeptics. Standard safety features like airbags, anti-lock brakes, and stability control systems add another layer of reassurance. This is also a silent declaration of war on the status quo. For years, big automakers have claimed that EV technology naturally equals a higher price. BYD is effectively calling that bluff and showing exactly how ruthless cost engineering, vertical integration, and battery innovation can knock that price down. While larger brands scramble to answer with their budget EVs, the Seagull calmly continues to rack up sales, adding momentum to a global wave of affordable electrification. In terms of the broader context, protecting our air quality, trimming fossil fuel dependency, and meeting climate goals, the Seagull stands out as a draft blueprint of how to get mainstream consumers off the gas pump. If the everyday family can switch to EVs without doubling their car payments, the future might just arrive faster than we ever thought. The BYD Seagull embodies a puzzle piece that many believed impossible: an electric car that's truly cheap, doesn't skimp on practicality, and is already on the road today. It's not just another Chinese EV designed to remain a local curiosity. This little hatchback has global aspirations, and if it spreads, it could rewrite the automotive landscape. For veteran automakers, it's a wake-up call. No longer can they bank on brand loyalty or rely on the assumption that EV adoption is slow due to high costs and limited range. The Seagull checks both boxes admirably. The cost is low, and the range is halfway decent. That leaves legacy companies rushing to justify why their offerings are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars more. For regular drivers, though, this is nothing short of thrilling. A future where electric cars are as ubiquitous and financially accessible as a typical small sedan is suddenly visible on the horizon. And it's coming from a brand that's been quietly perfecting its craft for years. So here's the final question. Is the Seagull the scariest EV to date? Maybe it is. Because what's more terrifying to entrenched giants than an underdog that gives the masses exactly what they need? Without the glitz, without the inflated price, but with all the essentials to drive into a cleaner tomorrow. The hum of that little electric motor might sound more like a whisper today. But if competitors don't act fast, that sound could quickly build into a roar, and one that's set to echo across the global automotive industry for years to come.